Recording.
5 o'clock, I think we have a quorum. Ms. Rambo, would you call the roll?
Jay Castillo. Jim Jackson.
Here.
Pete McGorry.
Here.
David Miller.
Here.
Tom Tucker.
Here.
Connor Whalen.
Here.
Mike Zuloff.
Thank you. I believe the first order of business is election of officers. It's our first meeting of the year, sort of the organizational meeting. Do I have any nominations for chair?
Mr. Chairman, I would like to nominate Tom Tucker, new city commissioner and new member of this board, as the chairman of this board. And I would move that you continue as vice chair.
Would you consider that?
Yes. Yes, I would.
Well, as would I. Are there other nominations for president or vice president? Anyone? Anyone?
Chairman, not president.
I'm
Because we
sorry.
got enough problems.
Chair. Well, this could be over very quickly.
I mean, you
No
talk
other
about
nomination?
moving up authoritarian, and I tell you.
Do I have a motion that nominations cease?
So moved.
Second?
Second. Go ahead.
Okay, we have a motion to close nominations. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. All right, we have a nomination for president and for vice president. Would you like to vote them together or separately? Pleasure of the board.
We can do it together. I think everyone,
There's only
Yeah.
one candidate.
All
yeah,
right.
one can, yeah, go
We
ahead.
got a slate, all
Yeah.
right.
Okay.
All in favor signify with aye.
Aye.
Opposed, same sign. Congratulations, sir. Got the second. I'm taking my sign, going back to.
Okay, first order of business would be the approval of the minutes from November 25th meeting. Do I have a motion for approval?
So moved.
And a second?
I will second with one observation. I'm just looking at them, and it shows that I did not attend and was marked unexcused. Without checking my calendar, I'm not 100% sure, but I believe I was out of state, and I think I called and left a phone message. I probably should have sent an email. It's also probably not life or death, but I normally try to attend these if I'm in town, and I think I was out of town. So maybe we could just leave that for right now, and I'll check my calendar and verify that. Maybe I'll deal with it the next meeting.
Well, I could make a contingent motion that if his research so indicates that he should have been excused for that meeting.
Okay, do I have a second? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve those. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Okay, next order is a new business. Presentation for the right-of-way vacation under A.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So we've got an application/petition for the vacation of a portion of a public right-of-way, which we're calling the 52nd Street Alley, which is contiguous or stems from 52nd Street, and it is 12 feet wide. This was brought forward with the signatures gathered from all of the adjacent property owners. So moving on this slide, we have on the left side this 12-foot wide portion of the 52nd Street Alley relative to the zoning lots around it. Obviously, this is a public right-of-way, so it does not have a zoning district classification. On the right-hand side of this slide, we see Firelands Insurance parcels, which was, everyone signed it, but they were the one that kind of brought it forward. And then in the yellow is a single-family home property, just to get us situated. So along those same lines, here's a elevation photo from street view of the approximate area of that vacation outlined in red. See, it's already been improved with a concrete drive. Here is further back into the proposed vacation versus the remaining alley, which is 4 feet wide. Moving on. Other departments' comments, staff checked with the engineering department, who said that the city has no public utility interest or any imminent projects planned for this alley. Staff analysis here is that In general, it is often beneficial to maintain public right-of-way to improve connectivity and public safety, even in cases where it's not immediately clear how that may be achieved. However, this situation doesn't fall within that understanding. It's kind of a one-off alley. There's no clear plat, design, or intention that could be taken advantage of. So there are also no public utility interests or any projects. So staff doesn't see any reason for concern as long as the owner keeps it free and clear for the applicable utility companies to access their facilities. Public Works did reach out to both the energy companies in our area, Ohio Edison, Columbia Gas. Ohio Edison has some lines there, and that has been communicated to the applicant. There's been no issues with that understanding. So therefore, staff recommends that Planning Commission recommends approval, recommends that City Commission approves the public right-of-way vacation with the following condition, which is that one, all applicable permits are obtained through the Building Department, Engineering Department, and any other applicable agency prior to construction. And quick note, if recommended for approval, we intend to ask City Commission to set that hearing at their next February meeting to then be held at the second meeting in February. The dates are on the slide. Thank you.
Okay, is the applicant or anybody else want to
Mr.
speak?
Chairman,
to
I have a
that?
question
Yes.
for staff. So this is an alley, or proposed, or requested alley vacation. When you're saying apply for applicable building permits, how does that tie in?
That's just our general language, but the tie-in is with the actual lot split paperwork, subdivision paperwork, which just goes to that staff
All they're doing
approval.
is dividing it up. They wouldn't be, once they get half the property and they wanted to build on it, that'd be a whole separate thing. And then my second question is, the other requirement. The utility. So when you vacate it, you would retain an easement for prospective utilities?
That's correct, yeah. Under Ohio Revised Code, the city would automatically retain a permanent easement to access any utilities.
Okay, so it wouldn't be actually part of the vacation
It wouldn't be
ordinance.
buildable, no. It would just be under ownership of however they divvy that up.
Okay. Okay. I would make a motion then, Mr. Chairman, to accept the staff recommendation to propose to the city commission that they vacate the alley on those two conditions.
Second.
A motion and a second. Any discussion?
Yeah, through you, Mr. Chairman.
Yes.
Adam, that utility easement thing, that only applies for utilities that exist at this point in time, correct? It doesn't provide, cable company can't claim that they're a public utility and therefore decide that they want to put a pole there or a tower there, or,
I think your understanding is correct.
I read it, but I wanted to make sure I
Yeah.
understood.
I think that's correct.
Okay, any other comments?
I have a
questions?
question. Which parcels are the people that signed off on this? Is it all of them that touch it?
Yeah, all of them that touch it,
Including the one
including the
to
one
the
right
north?
to the north off
Okay.
50th, yep.
Okay, any others? Okay,
Well, just because I thought of
That's
it. Heretofore, as an alley, does the city do anything to maintain it? And that will therefore become a private entity's obligation forward to maintain access for their properties.
It's convenient you asked that. We do have our acting public works director here that can field that question. Mr. Snyder.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. That'd be their responsibility to maintain. We don't maintain it now. Because it's a dead end, it's tricky for, plowing purposes. Obviously, street sweepers don't do alleys, so, yeah, it's kind of one of those that it's not serving a public purpose and not a foreseeable one for Public Works, and so they're already treating it as their driveway.
Exactly, thank you.
any other questions? Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve that. All in favor?
Do
Do we need a roll call?
Paul?
Roll call on that?
Yeah.
Okay.
Connor Whalen,
Yes.
Tom Tucker,
Yes.
David Miller,
Yes.
Pete McGorry,
Yes.
Jim Jackson.
Yes.
Okay, that's approved. Okay, site plan review for the Sandusky Rec Center.
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Chairman. So like you mentioned, this is an application for site plan approval submitted by Janata and Herder, applicant on behalf of the city of Sandusky for property that we own at 709 Rockwell Street for the construction of a new community rec center. So in some way, shape, or form, this project has been on the community's collective conscious for a very long time. Most recently, the order of events started in October of 2021. You can see some significant items there over the last few years, most recently ending with the contract being awarded November of this past year to Janata and Herner for design build. There's a link on there as well for more information with a more comprehensive overview. But for now, if it's all right, I'm going to move on. So on the top left of this slide is the site we all know and love. It is the former American Crayon site. It was recently rezoned to Public Facilities Zoning District. On the bottom right of the slide, we can see a better aerial view of that. We got a mixture of mostly residential in the area with the exception of some business or industrial to the north and immediate east. We also have the existing tennis courts on the property, which will be fully integrated into this site. And let's take a look at that site from a street view. Here's what it looks like right now, well, without snow. It was taken more or less recently from Rockwell Street. You see the tennis courts over to the right. And then from Hayes Avenue, tennis courts over off into the distance. You can see Hayes Ave leading down into the existing underpass. So here's the proposed site plan. We can see a few things. We got the new building, which totals at about 39,825 square feet to the northwest of the site. Right to the south of that is a new parking lot at just over 47,000 square feet, which will provide 115 off-street parking spaces. The existing tennis courts are to the northeast of the site, and there's landscaping throughout to provide a buffer and screening from the new parking lot, from the adjacent roadways and properties. So moving on for now. The proposed building, they're split into two main sections. Northern section at 28,000 square feet and southern at 11,825 square feet. Normally, when this commission looks at floor plans, it's to calculate, because staff uses it to calculate parking minimums. In this case, for the Public Facilities District, that almost verbatim reads as whatever's necessary for the development. So that's not really applicable here. This is really just for context for the public's, viewing pleasure, if you will. So with that in mind, the northern section is 28,000 square feet. Biggest section is the gymnasium at 24,000 square feet, ample space, 2 basketball courts, 4 volleyball courts, 1 4-lane track with dividing curtains as a buffer, and on the left-hand side of the building, open fitness area at 3,500 square feet with adequate windows to self-market ourselves. Moving to the southern portion, this is where we have a lot more things in the building. So we have a reception, lobby, concession area, and through the front door in the main corridor. If you go into the left, there's a seating area which helps service the fitness rooms on the lower left of the building. There's locker rooms and restrooms for people to use and go straight to the gym if they so please. Storage and utilities, storage for the gym. Going to the right part of the building, we have the new City Rec Department offices. If you're unaware, they're in the old middle school right now. And on the top part, we have activity rooms for Rec Department programming. We also have a public restroom proposed to be accessible from the outside of the building, a secured entrance. You'll notice the vestibule there. And that can service existing tennis courts and what have you. So moving on, here's the south elevation at the top of the slide. Plenty of windows on the west elevation, which faces Hayes Ave. The south elevation faces Rockwell Street. West faces Hayes, got windows there like previously mentioned. Moving on, the north elevation faces the railroad, and the east elevation faces the existing tennis courts to integrate it to the site as a miniature kind of wellness campus. So Further from here, our parking plan, we mentioned the specs and the number of spaces, ample parking, ample turn radii for buses. This has been thoroughly vetted. There's, as noted here, a future sidewalk to be installed by the city along Rockwell Street to connect to the existing sidewalk grid further east on Rockwell, and that will also connect to the existing sidewalk along Hayes, which goes under the underpass. And also to be installed by the city at a future date is at least one meaningful pedestrian connection to the on-site sidewalks. Landscaping, we've got a really healthy mixture here of different plantings, hardy deciduous and evergreen species. And counting toward the landscaping and screening is all the existing trees, which are several mature ones, and the vegetation in the detention pond, which if you look is proposed at the bottom left or southwest of the property. So proposed stormwater plan, all that landscaping helps with that too. The catch basin, the idea here is a mixture of catch basins throughout the site as well as parking lot sheet drainage to lead water into that detention pond, which connects to existing city stormwater facilities on Hayes Ave. Engineering staff is leading the design build process and will provide inspection throughout this project. Staff analysis, kind of touched on it. For budgetary purposes, certain improvements will be made by the city at a later date, and they've been indicated as such. Otherwise, all landscaping, lighting, parking, and setback requirements are shown to be met. Therefore, staff recommends approval of this site plan with the following condition, which is that all applicable permits are obtained through the building department, engineering department, and any other applicable agency prior to construction. The only other thing to note is that we do have a couple staff members here, Acting Public Works Director Josh Snyder, and to his left, Chris Mailing, Recreation Project Coordinator, to field any questions the commissioners may have. Thank you.
Questions?
Yeah, I have a couple of questions. As far as running of this recreation center is concerned, is it going to only be for citizens of Sandusky? And if it's just the city of Sandusky, will there be any funds involved as far as the usage is concerned?
Great question, Mr. Jackson. So the rec center will be for not only the residents of Sandusky, but the surrounding communities as well. And then as we put pricing to membership, the residents of Sandusky will have a lower membership rate than the surrounding communities.
Okay, thank you.
Any other questions? Okay, entertain a motion for approval.
Mr. Chairman, I move the approval subject to staff conditions.
Have a second?
I'll second it.
Okay. Roll call, please.
Jim Jackson,
Yes.
Pete McGorry,
Yes.
David Miller,
Yes.
Tom Tucker,
Yes.
Connor Whalen.
Yes.
Okay, that has been approved. And item B under site plan review, 317 East Washington Street.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chairman. All right, so this was an application, another one for site plan approval submitted by the property owner, which is Market Street Collective, represented by David Yanko, for property they own at that aforementioned address. The project here is for the adaptive reuse of the former Cardinal or Crimus grocery store as a DG market. Let's get into it. This slide shows us their current zoning is DBD, downtown business. You'll note a dashed line showing the proposed lot split, which we'll get into in a moment. But that's how it's zoned and how the surrounding area is zoned. This is really the edge of downtown. So this is gives us an aerial view, a better idea of existing site conditions. Moving on, got a couple street view photos. This one was taken from East Washington Street. And the next one was taken from the north elevation or from the city-owned parking lot. Okay. Proposed site plan. Got a couple things going on here, so I want to orient us. The first one, which I color-coded in red, hopefully no one's colorblind, is the subject development. That's the meat and potatoes of the night. That's where we're really going to try and stay. However, relevant to that is the overall site, which it is all one large parcel still right now. As part of this project, the existing lot will be split to allow a future phase of multifamily, denser residential development, and detailed plans for that phase will be coming forward to this commission as site plan approval at a future date. But it's part of this because it has implications for site circulation, stormwater, and therefore landscaping. It kind of impacts all of it, and the applicant wanted to seek approval to split that, move forward with their internal due diligence, planning, everything. But again, the topic of tonight's approval is just that red, the southern portion, subject development. Okay. Moving on. That proposed site plan has three main things to note. First is that the building size will be slightly reduced, only slightly, due to the removal of an existing loading dock from the north part of the building. 2 existing utilities will be relocated, and 3, 22 off-street parking spaces are proposed for that southern property. I'll spoil it right now. We'll talk about the reasons why, but staff does think that's appropriate, but I'm going to keep you hooked, so just keep listening. I didn't plan to say this, it just came out. Okay, the proposed floor plan, this is what we looked at to calculate that by code 45 spaces were needed. Again, that's the only reason we really look at floor plans, and I'll get this comment out of the way. Staff suggests that existing window openings be maintained on the southern elevation, and those currently boarded up on the east and west elevations be restored to improve the facade and allow natural light into the store. I'll be abundantly clear, as we were in the staff report. We don't have a city ordinance requiring this. It is a best planning practice, and that's part of our job too, but just to be abundantly clear, I'll move on now to things we do have authority over. Proposed elevations. So on the top is the south elevation and bottom is the west. South, again, faces East Washington Street. Highlighted here for you all is a note that we didn't have the opportunity to clarify with the applicant. It says all glass windows will be cleaned and have the DG logo film installed prior to any interior construction. And it appears to point to just one window, but then the way it's phrased, it's just unclear. And so we just wanted to note for the record that our city ordinances, as listed there, require that any window film, which is signage, that's used on the building windows must be transparent for at least 75% of the windowed area. Another way to think of that is we have a maximum allowed window signage of 25%. Only 25% of the windowed area on any elevation can be signage. So calling that out here.
I'll throw in a couple comments here. You'll notice we did some discussion in the staff report about the downtown design guidelines and where we have purview to execute those or not. This is just outside the line of where we would be looking at design guidelines, and those would tell us that you shouldn't cover up window openings, that you should retain the character of a building. That's for the customer experience inside, the pedestrian experience outside. So that's why we added those comments about the windows. We'd like to see them allow some natural light in the building if that's feasible for their project, but we can't add that as a condition of approval because those guidelines don't extend to this site. If that makes sense. Just want to be clear.
Thank you. Moving on for now, here's the east elevation at the top part of the slide and the north on the bottom with out the existing loading dock. All right, a proposed lighting plan. A lighting plan was requested. Unfortunately, it was not provided by the applicant. 2, staff assumes that the existing parking lot light poles will be utilized, but that was not confirmed. The applicant provided a cut sheet, which is in that square marked 2, showing what look like parking lot light fixtures, which if it is, would be compliant for what that's worth. 3, staff assumes that the proposed security lighting on the south, east, and west building elevations are the extent of the building lighting to be provided, but again, that was also not confirmed, nor were cut sheets provided for those fixtures. A proposed landscaping plan was requested but not provided. Staff suggests a condition of approval be that privacy fencing be installed along the rear yard of 307 East Washington Street to shield the private outdoor space from the parking lot. We've got two different views of that proposed fencing on the slide. Bottom left shows in red from an aerial perspective, and on bottom right shows from a street view. Moving on. Proposed stormwater drainage plan. One was requested, but it was not provided by the applicant. Staff assumes that the existing stormwater facilities will be utilized. Wasn't confirmed. 3, the engineering department is requiring that a stormwater drainage plan be submitted and approved prior to the issuance of building permits. This is very standard. We've had this for a lot of developments, especially recently. Ms. Blair, do you want to talk about the comments that we struck?
Sure. There is a note in the staff report that we were requiring landscape to the east of the building and a removal of the curb cut east of the building. The applicant did, after reviewing that, ask if they could keep that for emergency egress if needed. Potentially, it could help with the development of the northern parcel in the future. So we discussed that with Public Works today, and they didn't have any concern and really thought that keeping that curb cut might be valuable for fire access and emergency services if needed. So we're striking that comment, and you'll notice just a very small edit to our recommended conditions of approval that are on this slide to reflect that.
Thank you. Parking, I saved it for last. So a few things. With that proposed lot split, we're going to be establishing a mutual cross-access easement between the subject development to the south, the future development to the north, and the existing development in green there to the west, which is Sora and Oak currently. This does a lot of positive things for Sandusky, for these businesses, but most importantly, this allows all the customers, residents, visitors alike to more easily access East Market Street and East Washington Street. This also, we've discussed, provides 22 off-street parking spaces, whereas 45 is required. Also, the applicant clarified for us that the aisle width between that Lot A and Lot B is as large as it is to allow for the circulation of semi-trucks delivering to the DG Market. Staff suggests that a condition of approval be that the entirety of the asphalt lot to remain, including the DG parking area to the south and the area in the future development parcel to the north, be patched and resealed. Parking, like Ms. Blair noted, we have, at least on this slide, 3 of many official sources of what is considered quote-unquote downtown. We have a central business district in which parking minimums are not required, historic property district, and downtown design review district, which talk about character and windows and what have you. If you look in all 3 of these pictures, commissioners, the star is this property. It's just barely outside, but I don't think anybody at this table would debate whether this or not is culturally part of downtown Sandusky. For what that is worth, that goes into our feeling that the parking reduction is appropriate. Perhaps more importantly, within red here, you'll see number of spaces from research that we did several months ago about similarly located Dollar Generals, DG Markets, and similar chains, which show about 25 to 40 parking spaces per store. And then our own personal observations of staff of those same kinds of chains was that only about 6 to 10 spaces were filled during when we assume to be peak hours. So that, and combined lastly with the fact that Dollar General provided a letter of support for their project indicating that 22 spaces total fulfills their business needs, and that we believe there's sufficient capacity for any other parking in the city-owned parking lot to the north, we consider that reduction appropriate. Second to last one, thank you. Okay, summary of staff analysis. This project will restore access to fresh food to the surrounding area, which I think everyone misses, meats, produce, dairy. Staff finds the proposed reduction in parking spaces appropriate. Staff suggests that a condition of approval be the privacy fencing we mentioned. Another suggestion for condition of approval being that the entire asphalt parking lot be patched and resealed. Number 5, you see where Ms. Blair mentioned the striking of the comments of landscaping. the engineering department requiring still, though, the stormwater. And lastly, planning zoning division requiring an adequate lighting plan as requested prior to building permits. So therefore, staff recommends approval with the following conditions. 1, all applicable permits are obtained through the building department, engineering department, and any other applicable agency prior to construction. 2, the owner/applicant work with the city engineering department for all required stormwater approvals. 3, any window film used on the building's windows must be transparent for at least 75% of the total windowed surface area per elevation to allow pedestrians to see in the windows. 4, all proposed site lighting must comply with the city's dark sky regulations and must be submitted to Planning and Zoning Division staff for approval before installing. 5, a privacy fence is installed along the adjacent backyard of the residential property to the west of the parcel, 307 East Washington Street. 6, the entirety of the asphalt lot to remain, including all the DG parking area and the part to the north for future development be patched and resealed. And lastly, that access easements to each parcel as described within this presentation and our report are documented and recorded publicly as part of the lot split. Thank you.
Questions?
Through you, Mr. Chairman.
Please.
I need a little bit better understanding on this parking right here. Here in yellow, you're saying this, no matter what happens if they develop this residential area right here, this will still be public parking?
So as we've talked about it, I wouldn't say public parking within the yellow area, but it'll legally allow for ingress and egress for all of those patrons. So, which is likely how it would have been used anyway, but this is a way to make that all legally.
Well, there's
Okay.
a reason I'm bringing this up. There's a church and there's a bar there that people that go to those places use that for parking. So you're saying that after this takes place that they will no longer be allowed to park there? Is that what you're saying?
Well, to be fair, Mr. Jackson, I'm not sure, without looking at documentation, I'm not sure they are allowed to do that now. They might be, they very well might be, but we do also have an existing city parking lot immediately north of there they'd be more than welcome to utilize.
Okay.
All that land will remain asphalt. It will be legally a new parcel that could be developable in the future, but they'd have to bring another site plan. So it'll all still be there if people are parking on it.
Yeah, they're
That's
parking
not our
there.
concern because
Yeah,
it's
they're
private
parking there
property.
now. Yeah. They
But there-
are.
yeah, there is a city
They're-
parking lot
They're
there.
parking there, yeah.
If I may?
Sure, yes, go ahead.
Thank you. Mr. Jackson, to address your concern also, Mr. Panis is right in terms of that yellow area that's shown there. Essentially what that is an easement area between what will be the two new lots for the DG Market on the south side and the future residential plan development on the north side. That is simply access area for vehicles to drive through. Staff was also correct in pointing out it's essentially a private lot right now. Technically, those adjacent properties don't have the right to park there. However, you know, we understand the need and the context for that, so we don't press too much on that.
All right.
Could you state your name and your connection for the record?
Sure, and if I may, I'm happy to give a brief statement as well. My name is David Yanko. I'm the manager of Market Street Collective, LLC, the developer for this property. And if you don't mind, I'd like to take a couple minutes to just talk a little bit about the project. I'd like to thank the commissioners for the opportunity to be in front of you today. I'd like to thank city staff also, who's been pretty terrific in terms of working with us. I think it's no secret we have been at this for some time. We took possession of this property in 2019, and through various twists and turns, re-envisioning the development plan, some things that were out of our control. It's taken us some time to get here. Part of that time that it's taken is the fact that in my visits in my business in Sandusky in particular, I personally live in Columbus, Ohio. I've fallen in love with Sandusky, and we want to make sure that whatever concept that we bring to Sandusky at this property is carries with it a sizable impact and community benefit. And we feel as though we're doing that here today. I will address a couple of the comments, but I do want to say that we're encouraged by the fact that this planned tenancy will impact the local residents, the downtown businesses and their workers, as well as the hundreds of thousands of folks who visit downtown Sandusky every year. Not only are we activating a currently vacant site, we are executing on some of the plans in Sandusky's downtown plans, namely bringing forth economic benefit vis-a-vis jobs. And I think Dollar General indicated in its letter of support that they are creating 3 to 5 full-time permanent jobs in addition to the temporary construction jobs. There's obviously tax revenue that comes with the economic benefit of the development, as well as smoothing the transition from the residential area and the commercial corridor, as Mr. Panis alluded to. This is obviously a very important property for downtown. We want to be thoughtful about providing a benefit for the residents that also, smooths that transition between the commercial corridor. And as they pointed out, it will be also solving a USDA designated low access area for fresh foods, as DG Markets have a portion of their store plan dedicated to fresh food, produce, meats, and so forth, in addition to their shelf-stable goods. And then last but certainly not least, to maintain the legacy of the Krimus family. I've grown close to the Krimus and Sinwald families. Chet and Cher Sinwald are here today to support the project. And we want to make sure that to the extent possible, we could somehow maintain that legacy through whether it's preservation of the building or providing a similar use that the downtown residents so sorely missed when that business went out several years ago. In regards to the ask today, as was pointed out, it's essentially parking reduction and the lot split. I know that there are 7 items of recommendation. I won't bury the lead here. We do not object to any of those 7 items. As it pertains to the parking, the patch and ceiling requirement we agree to. Dollar General has transitioned. I know some of their locations do indicate 30 to 40 spaces right now. They're saying to me in this letter that essentially even that is more than the need is. Through our own informal research, there seem to be typically 8 to 16 cars at a Dollar General, and that's off-peak. We conducted a study where we were there Tuesday on the weekend as well during peak and off-peak hours, and that's generally the amount, including staff vehicles that are in the lot. The landscaping, drainage, again, no issue there. I know that as a result of the agenda here today, it really elucidated some of the requests and planned contingencies for the approval here. And our architectural and engineering staff is working on that as we speak. I spoke with the general contractor today. They're working on the lighting plans and the draining plans to show essentially the draining plan, to my understanding, is threefold. Number one is to, in remilling and repaving the parking lot, to continue some of the sheet draining that exists already on the property. Number two, there's a planned trench drain in front of the building so as to avoid water runoff into the building itself. And then number three is the downspouts for the building will be maintained, and that will be a conduit for storm water runoff. And like I said, they will have more information on that as well. As it pertains, I guess the last thing that I'll mention, and I'm happy to take any further questions, is as it pertains to the phasing of this project, it has taken some time to get to where we are here. We wanted to focus on what we have the immediate ability to impact, that being re-tenanting this store and creating the vibrant use for it. Our construction timeline, we're essentially ready to go this spring with the expeditious approval by Planning Commission here today. We'll be able to get into construction this spring so that a Dollar General market will be available for the busy summer season. Our construction timeline is actually only 10 to 12 weeks, and that's both for landlord and tenant work. So with a, mid-March to mid-April timing, we'll be able to hit that mark of being open for the summer season. And then, of course, we will be happy to readdress the Planning Commission at a later time with more cogent plans for the second half of what is now currently one parcel. I will say, when we acquired the property, for what it's worth, this single parcel was 5 parcels. I don't have the history as to why, what the use was and so forth, even prior to the grocery store coming into business in the 1970s. But I will say that also unbeknownst to me is the motivation for parcelizing into one parcel the property. And so I'm not saying that that wasn't under our watch. That was some 7 years ago. But certainly that would be a consideration. If it were still 5 parcels today, it would be a lot line adjustment that we would be coming to rather than a parcel split.
Any other questions?
Through you, Mr. Chairman, I have 3 areas of questions and a comment too, but I believe I heard you say that you're agreeable to all the staff's recommended conditions, but there was a sort of an extensive discussion of the windows east and west that are boarded up, and I believe Ms. Blair was clear to say that we couldn't require it, but how agreeable to you are those considerations, and what do you do with boarded up windows? Not really what we're looking for, but security issues for your store, that's the balance. What about that topic? That's one of 3.
I will preface this by saying, as a personal point of interest, I'm interested in well building. And what that means is consideration of the entire experience. Now, there are certain requirements and specifications that the tenant has that, I as developer, landlord, have no control over or interest in. That said, I would point out that prior to us doing the demo and abatement work that was done, I think, 3 years after the Cardinal Grocery closed in 2022, those windows were boarded up. I cannot speak for the tenant. I think that the reasons for that typically at a retail grocery are because, number one, it maximizes the revenue, the floor productivity, revenue per square foot productivity of the building, being able to shelve and line those walls with product. They also have the necessity of having cooler space. We talked about they do have some meats and fresh items coming in, but in addition to that, certainly beverage coolers and so forth. So those line one window as well. And so when we essentially acquired the property, the only windows that were exposed were those 3 windows that you see on the south side of the facade. And it was only through our demolition work where they ultimately were exposed. I would have to defer to the tenant and their contractor on exactly how they'll treat those windows moving forward.
Right. The second area of question is about the food, and I know you've referred to the letter I read, and in the end, it looks like that letter was submitted electronically originally, and there's like, for more information about the different market models, click here. I'm not so steeped in the Dollar General market plans, but this DG, it seems to me, might be the new Dollar General that was born of responsiveness to the food desert concept. And I know that's something we've talked about at this committee for a long time. One of our former mayors was big on that, and I'd have to agree with him. But I don't really have a sense of what they're committed to, what Dollar General DG is committed to in a market plan of what does fresh fresh meat and vegetables really mean? Is it a token little cooler of wilted stuff, or is this like, I mean, how extensive is the food availability in this model?
I cannot speak to their item assortment or their, their business strategies. I'm not part of that company. It operates completely separately from me. I will give my personal observations, and you can take that with a grain of salt for what it's worth. I believe, so you're right in stating that the fresh food portion of their floor plan is likely a response to growing consumer demand and people wanting fresh foods as an option. I believe it's also a response to consolidation that's going on in the grocery industry right now. In a 9-month period last year, I was looking at some numbers, and something like 8,700 retail stores closed across America during that time. And so you have fewer options for grocery. My understanding is the Save-A-Lot on Perkins Avenue closed during that period as well. And so growing consumer demand, fewer options. Dollar General, certainly through its 22,000 stores, has the appropriate supply chain to get fresh food access to. They're predominantly in rural areas. This is a unique thing for them to be in a downtown setting. Typically, where I've seen them downtown is like a DGX, more convenience store type concept that might be 3,000, 3,500 square feet. Still at those stores, they do have produce and so forth. From my own experience going into the DG Market that is on Tiffin Avenue on the west side of town here, it's been a nice surprise to see the types of assortments that they're offering and the quality of the product as well. I haven't really, my own experience, I haven't really seen wilted items on the shelf. I think that goes back to consumer demand, that they're probably not sitting on the shelf that long when they're there because that's what people want and need. And so, I'm encouraged by the business's desire to bring those things forth. Now, there was some discussion that I had with city staff, and they're saying, well, is there, some sort of guarantee that this is going to be a DG Market moving forward and so forth? I don't know that. I don't know that even Dollar General can promise that. What I do know is they're investing in the DG Market, the sign with the green logo and the leaf and everything on the front of their building. I know that they are ardently focused on passing along savings to the consumer. And so when you go into the Tiffin store, for example, you'll see very agreeable prices on all of their, not just fresh foods, but all of their shelf-stable items as well. They do that by making sure they're maximizing their investments. And I'm assuming, again, personally, that if they're investing in that signage on the front of that building, that they intend, at least for the life of this 10-year lease, for it to be a DG Market.
Well, we're getting through my questions. I hope we're all patient. I only got one more area, then a couple comments. I think I had this question in mind, and you kind of addressed it in talking about first aggregating the parcels, and now, curiously, we want to split them. And one of Ms. Blair's comments early on, or maybe Adam's, about separate due diligence for the northern half, made me wonder if you have any, or possibly staff has any knowledge of former uses of that property. I never thought about Primus's before that grocery store building was there. And if it was industrial or some, not very far from there, there's some brownfield kind of stuff that, so I'm just wondering if anybody has any idea what's under the north parking lot there.
Great question.
I can help you out with that.
Sure, go ahead.
Okay, I'm old. I'm 80 years old, and I can remember my dad taking me to the A&P supermarket that was there prior to that. And we also had a Kroger downtown too. All the grocery stores were downtown. Kroger and A&P were downtown, and that's where A&P was, right there.
Yes, that's my understanding as well. And Mr. Sinwald's here. I'm sure that he could speak to it at the appropriate time. There are a couple of points. Mr. Jackson's comment, my understanding is the building was built in 1948 as an A&P store. Mr. Sinwald and his brother-in-law, Bob Krimus, got into business in 1973, I believe. And prior to that, Dale Kaufman from RE/MAX is here as well. We had talked about how it had existed as, I believe, a Ford dealership prior to the grocery use. In our Phase 1 environmental assessment of the property, there are no underground storage tanks, there's no hazardous materials, we've done soil testing and all of that. So any of those concerns can be alleviated for sure.
All right, we're through my question, now my two comments.
That's fine.
I really welcome having available reasonably priced fresh food that you can walk to in downtown. I think that's important, and I really think that promotes the walkability and so forth of our downtown. We're trying to redevelop more of an urban, dense feel. But that bears on my second comment. In my Dollar General past experience, pretty limited, they seem to be on the countryside, and it wouldn't surprise me that there, everybody has to drive to the store. Here, I'm thinking that if it works the way I would like to see it work, many people will walk to it because they don't have to have a car to get a steak. That's it, I'm done.
Mr. Chair,
Yes, sir.
I really loved Krimus. I really, like you, I really
I
loved
was a
the
customer
downtown
when you-
grocery store. And when you guys first got that, I was really excited at some of the concepts I saw. Dollar General, I don't mind saying, is a little disheartening to see going in there. Nobody from there is here, so I guess I'm not hurting anybody's feelings. Staff and/or applicant, can you refresh us at all? Was there public support for the acquisition and rehab of this property? Was any of that contingent on this becoming actual grocery? Because
My understanding, this parcel is, it's in the opportunity zone, but it's outside of any
So there was
conversation
never
happened in the downtown
no
plan. It was a
grants,
Private.
like from the city?
There was some grant funding support that exists for the food hall concept. My understanding is that because that concept couldn't move forward for various financing reasons, that those dropped off. So this is a private development that they are doing with their own money and not really subject to needed,
Funding.
I'm sorry, I see you got this property and you're trying to make use of it.
Yeah.
I understand that.
Yeah.
and Everybody's in business.
Yeah. The
Just
use is
a Dollar
permitted in
General
downtown
scares
business.
me. Like, I was really hoping this would be food. I don't know that that's our job here on the planning commission is to, determine what we hoped it would be.
Yeah.
But
We did ask
if
if we
there
could
was
get-
public support for that becoming grocery again, I wanted to make sure I didn't.
We definitely
We didn't
hear
pass over that.
often that the community would like to see downtown grocery. We hear it a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And
It
we
was
did
great. It
ask
was great
if
when
they
it
would-
existed.
If they would commit to a specific square footage number of space in the store for fresh foods, and that was not something we were able to achieve, and we do not have regulatory authority to require it.
Great. I guess my only other comment, through the chair, if you don't mind, the lot split then kind of does concern me. Like, it's not possible to go back to grocery once that happens. Like, if that gets developed, right, you need more than that parking for full grocery.
I would
Yep.
support, from the American Planning Association direction that I get, parking should not be the barrier to good development. And downtown grocery with 22 parking spaces, I'd be here before you advocating for
Well,
that.
but we could
So-
split the lot when there are new building plans. Correct?
That would be
Like, we
great.
could wait until there are building plans to split the lot
That'd be a discussion for
later.
later when we get down the road for that particular plat.
The intention of bringing it here was to see if the planning commission would support the lot split, the reduced parking for this project so that they could have the security and that they could move forward with development plans for the remaining parcel. it's really expensive to advance
Got-
architecture
gotcha.
and
I
design.
guess that makes
And with
sense.
that risk that it could fail, I'm afraid that we would prevent a potential residential project, which we also really need in Sandusky.
I have a comment too.
Yes, go ahead.
In years past, in the neighborhoods, we used to have neighborhood little stores. If you ran out of milk, bread, or whatever, you would go to these, and usually they were in walking distance of the neighborhoods here. And they all disappeared, except Clips, I guess. But that neighborhood probably needs a store that you could walk to when you ran out of bread or milk or whatever without having to drive out to 250. That's my comment.
Yes, go ahead.
I'd like to say a few words.
Sure.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
It's Cardinal Grocery.
I'm Chet Sunwald. My nickname's Butch. A lot of people know me by Butch. I'll tell you, we need a store downtown. It's been 8 years without a store. And I go in stores, Walmart, Kroger, or whatever sometimes, and people come up to me and say, "We miss you. What's going on with the store?" I said, "I don't know, but we need a store downtown. People are really hurting. They're starving for a grocery store downtown." And I checked out the Dollar General DG Market in Avery, and it will serve the purpose. It will be good. It's got the staples, a little bit lacking on meat and that, but, a butcher is kind of almost a thing of the past anymore. Even the Walmarts and the other stores are pre-packaging stuff. So you need a store downtown, and I'm getting tired of hearing about it, really. You know what I mean? And they're starving for a grocery store downtown. Even my doctor and dentist and everybody says, "What's going on with the store?" So it would be a benefit. It'd be a win for the city of Sandusky. It'd be a win for the owner, and it'd be a win for the people of Sandusky. They need a store, and I'd like to finish by saying I'd like to thank all our past customers for supporting us over all those years. They're like family, and they still are. Thank you.
I live 2 blocks from there. We used to shop there a lot. So we do miss it downtown. So.
May I offer some comments too, if you all?
Sure.
My name's Dale Kaufman. I own and operate Remax Quality Realty here in Sandusky, and I've been part of this community for a very long time, almost 40 years. I got involved with the Crimus family about 2015 to help them liquidate this property. They wanted to retire. That was the only reason for the closing of the store. There's no one to pass it on to in their family to continue the legacy there. We met with Matt Lasko. We met with a gal named Maria that was part of the planning department. I don't recall her name. Everybody wanted a grocery store downtown. The limitations that this has, it's a box of 11,000 square feet. It's not like a Trader Joe's or some of the bigger things of people that had forecasted demands for the city. These were things that have a huge limitation on what you're able to do with this box that exists. My initial thing, we contacted Bassett's, we contacted all the small mom and pops. I lived above Whitman's Food Market back in the early 80s. So I knew the grocery store concepts was the neighborhood, but the big regional ones killed that, unfortunately, because they couldn't compete with it. This Dollar General Market concept, as I'll agree with Mr. Sinwald, hits a lot of those dynamics with the whole thing. And I think of anything that can happen there, this is a plus and a win-win for the community, the poverty that exists in there, the pricing point of the items and everything there. I just think it'd be such a benefit to the community to make it happen. And honestly, when I first listed it with Chet, that was my initial concept back in 2015. It's amazing that through the journey of the food hall and everything else, it came back around to that. One comment I want to make on the parking too, because the parking plan for the the recreation is roughly a parking spot for every 1,000 square feet. That would be 11 for this development. We're at 22. So I don't think with everyone walking and trying to get more healthy and kind of the cool thing with City of Sandusky, the Renaissance I've been involved in for the last 10 years at downtown, that to see all that happen, that the parking hopefully is not an issue there, because it mirrors with that. And actually, a lot of communities, I know you came from Perkins, and theirs is that way. I was involved in Park Place Shopping Center development back in the late 80s, and Meyer is one parking spot for every 1,000 square foot of usable space is the common consistency of code. This more than meets that demand, in my opinion. So that's all I have to say, unless someone has a question for me.
Okay, we've had a lot of discussion.
Sorry.
And
Nice to meet you, man.
we're here to vote on the site plan. So, what's the pleasure of the,
Mr. Chairman, just one question for staff. I'm a little confused. Are we being asked to recommend or approve the adaptive reuse of the building and a lot split, or just the building? Is the lot split a later?
The lot split will come for administrative approval, so it's really the lot split, the project, the adaptive
So
reuse.
we're not being asked to vote on the lot split itself in
No.
this?
No, that was just provided for context.
Okay,
yeah,
that's
just,
what
what I understand, just the red box on the page there.
My understanding is that the adaptive reuse is a by right, it's a by right use.
That's correct.
So,
right.
so that's not necessarily, the ability to put the use in the store is not necessarily in question. What we're essentially asking for, from the developer's standpoint, are two items. It's the ability to split the lot once we meet those conditions, once we have the proper cross easements and so forth, that we will be able to be assigned the proper addresses and so forth to have the lot split. That would greatly help us decloud and demystify some of even the phase one development of this retail store. And then number two is for the reduction in parking on this half, that even with a lot split, this half would be required for 45 and we've got 22. So, thank you.
That's accurate.
Go back to my question, though. It's my understanding that the answer was the lot split is an administrative process
Correct.
and it's not part of our vote today.
That is correct.
We're approving the reuse with the parking.
Parking,
limitation.
really, parking and associated aspects, yes.
We didn't want to sign off on the lot split without the planning commission review of the entire proposal because
It's all-
of all the
yeah.
connected implications. And this body is to be the visionary body of contextual review. So that's why we brought it in this way. So we won't approve the lot split without your approval of the site plan, to be
Okay,
short.
okay. I would make a motion. Is there any more discussion?
Yep. Any more discussion? Okay. It's been quite a bit.
I would make a motion to approve the application with the recommendations of staff.
Have a second?
Second.
Okay, have a motion and a second. Any other discussion? Okay, roll call.
David Miller,
Yes.
Jim Jackson,
Yes.
Connor Whalen,
Yes.
Pete McGorry,
Yes.
Tom Tucker.
Yes. Okay, that has passed. Is there any other business to come before the body?
Oh, Mr. Chairman, we did get a RSVP from Mr. Zuloff, who could not attend this meeting. I'm not sure that we heard from Jade, but I didn't hear any motions to excuse anyone. I want to bring that to your attention for that.
I'll move to excuse both of them.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. We don't need a roll call on that, so all in favor?
Aye.
Any other business to come before the body? Okay. Motion
Just
for
a comment?
adjournment? Yes.
Nice job, Mr. Chairman.
Thank you. It's been about 3 or 4 years since I got to do this. You just fall right back into it, so. Motion to adjourn,
So moved.
second. We are adjourned. All right.
Tom Tucker said it.